Hi, and welcome to another narration, presented by yours truly, Cryptid's Roost. Let's just take a moment's silence for all the haters, Karens, and the trolls. That's enough. Be sure to check out the blooper reel at the end of the video, which is then followed by the end screen, where you will find more videos listed. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not. Watched. This awesome story is written by Corpse Child. Be sure to check out Corpse's new book, Damned Whispers. It is available both as a Kindle ebook and also in paperback. 13 chilling anecdotes, 13 reasons that you'll never sleep again. The Amazon link to this book will also be listed below in the description. Daddies, mummies, brothers, sisters, it is a new era and a new age. Every new age brings something new. There's a new site that gives you all your quality jackets, joggers, shoes, bags, hoodies and lots more. Metaphysik.com. Check them out today and I bet you won't regret patronising with them, and you will definitely demand more. It's Metaphysik today, Metaphysik tomorrow, and Metaphysik forever. 100% perfection. Remember to use the code XYZ for a 10% discount. What I'm about to say here is hard for me for a couple of reasons. First, obviously because of how traumatic it was, but secondly because of how bizarre it was too. I saw things I'm still not sure I, or you, or anyone for that matter, can really explain. It started, for me anyway, with the eyes. The large red eyes with a pair of wings coming out of them. This time painted on the bricks of the next door apartment complex in the alleyway. I'd seen this before on the news. Another body. Who is it this time? Another woman? A child? The eyes saw them first. They saw nothing. They never do. I still remember that night too, almost shot for shot. I'd gotten home from working late at the convenience store, having had to stay for another 3 hours after closing just to put the fucking place back together after being so badly trashed. It was 3 AM when I finally got to leave, and I was tired. Nothing human up at that hour. I got home about 15 minutes later and shambled, exhausted, out of my car and to my apartment. I remember how cold it was, though I was still too tired to notice, as well as how quiet it was. Dead silent. Upon entering my apartment, I locked the door, all 7 bolts. Something I found to be necessary a year before when I had 2 break-ins over the course of a month, and just launched myself on the couch. I didn't even bother trying to get out of my sweaty ass clothes or even making it to my bed. At least I have tomorrow off, was the last thing to cross my mind before blacking out cold as soon as my bed touched the couch cushion. I didn't hear anything. I was awakened maybe 15? Could it have been 15 minutes later to the sounds of sirens from outside. Red and blue lights flashed rapidly from the window. Huh? I bolted up on the couch, still groggy. What is that? The police? What's going on? What happened? I stumbled over to the window. From my window on the 4th floor, I couldn't see much from the lights flashing in my still half-asleep eyes. I do, however, remember seeing the pair of large red eyes graffitied on the wall, staring forward. You can't see them, but they see you. Oh God, I thought, chills starting their course up my spine. It was him again. Azazel, or Charlotte's fallen angel killer, as the media nicknamed him. This had been his trademark for almost 3 months. Find someone walking by in the dead of night, snatch them into the alley, kill them quickly and quietly, causing no one to hear anything, and marking the wall in their blood before basically vanishing into thin air. How long ago had this happened? I wondered. If I couldn't hear him, what if he's still nearby? No one ever hears him. No one sees him. It goes without saying that this snapped me wide awake and kept me that way until the sun came up. I grabbed the 9mm my late husband got me 2 years ago before he died, and I poised myself on the couch, ready to blast anyone that might try to come in. It took every ounce of self-control I had to keep from unloading the magazine when I heard a knock at the door, about 2 or so hours in.
"Mrs. Hoffman,"
a man's voice called from the other side of the door.
"It's the police."
For a moment I stayed stiff on the couch, locked in a frightened entropy, the barrel of the gun trained at the door. My hands shook. It's just the police. Another set of knocks came from the other side.
"Mrs. Hoffman."
I slowly began to get up from the couch and crept to the door. I unlocked 6 of the deadbolts, leaving the top one latched, before cracking the door open. Outside were 2 officers.
"Mrs. Hoffman?"
The one on the left asked. I cleared my throat. Yes?
"We are with the Mecklenburg County Police Department. I'm Officer Wade, and this is my partner, Officer Vega. If you wouldn't mind, we'd like to ask you a few questions. May we come in?"
I unlatched the last bolt and opened the door fully. Yeah, come in." They came in. I went into the kitchen and started brewing a pot of coffee. Would either of you like some coffee?"
"No thank you, ma'am," Officer Wade replied. "We'll try to keep this brief. We just want to know if you might have seen anything out of the ordinary."
I replied that I hadn't.
"Anything at all? Maybe someone you hadn't seen in the neighbourhood before? Someone shady?"
"No," I replied. "At least not any more than usual."
"What do you mean?"
Officer Vega asked. I answered with a tired scoff. "I mean, you've seen this neighbourhood, right? Not exactly squeaky clean." He looked to his partner, who nodded at him, then back to me. "I didn't see anybody in the alley there, if that's what you're asking."
"And you didn't hear anything?"
Officer Wade asked. "No, not until I heard the sirens just a couple of hours ago." He nodded at this. I turned to continue making coffee. Officer Wade handed me his card and told me to call if I saw anything before he and Officer Vega began for the door. "Wait!" They stopped, grabbing the doorknob. How long ago?"
"What?"
"The alley. How long ago did it happen?" Officer Wade nodded to his partner towards the door. He left and it was me and Officer Wade.
"It was about 3:30 this morning, ma'am. Can't be certain, but I was told that was the best estimate."
My blood chilled. My heart dropped from my chest like a rock. 3:30. I was asleep. I asked if they knew who the victim was. He replied that he didn't yet, though of course I kinda doubt he would have shared that with me if he did know. He was about to turn and leave again when I asked him one last question, one that deep down I knew he wouldn't answer. "Is it him? The fallen angel?"
"We're not sure yet, ma'am. was all he said before turning and leaving. I was alone again. For a moment I just stood there, trying, and kind of failing, to take in and process what I'd just heard. My mind was a chaotic hornet's nest. An innocent person just got murdered right next to me, and I slept through it. Aside from the palpable sense of guilt that brought me, it also filled me with panic. It brought a far more haunting suggestion to mind. Would I have noticed anything even if I was awake? Was it possible to catch a ghost? He said the time of death was 3:30 AM. That was only about 15 minutes after I got home. I didn't see anything or anybody. You can't see them, but they see you. How long had he been in the... Ding! My thoughts were abruptly ended when I heard the pot signal that the coffee was done. My hands were shaking as I lifted the pot and began pouring. I ended up only filling the mug about halfway up before losing the rest of it to the drain. I, still trembling, raised the mug to my lips and started sipping it, swallowing hard. Would I have seen or heard him if I had been awake? This swam around in my head as the sun rose. By then, of course, the commotion in the alleyway had long died out. It was empty again. Quiet. I was exhausted, of course, which made me really slow to get moving again. I didn't have to work, sure, but I couldn't just sit in the house all day either. For one thing, I'm not one to stay cooped up all day. I'll sleep in occasionally, sure, but I had to get out of the house sometime. The other thing though was that I had a date planned to go see The Batman with Paul at 1 that afternoon, having lunch together afterwards back at my place. If nothing else, it'll give me something else to think about, right? I looked at the clock after getting dressed. 11:30. I still had just enough time to do a quick grocery run to grab stuff for lunch. Granted, it meant foregoing the shower I kind of really needed. Oh well. I threw on a blue tank top and the first pair of jeans I could find that I was at least mostly sure were clean before heading out. When I walked down to the parking lot to my car, I couldn't help but glance back over to the alley. The eyes were still there, faded a bit, but still thick and red, still watching me. A shiver ran down my back at this. It was quiet. It was empty. I didn't see anything last night. Nothing was wrong, yet I felt something was going to be soon. For a moment I flashed back to last night. I thought of how quiet it was. Nothing was happening. I couldn't see anything. I imagined the victim, their face as they were being attacked, their frightened eyes. They didn't see him coming. There's nothing wrong, Angie. Get a grip. He couldn't have gotten far. He might still be near, in the area. I closed my eyes and shook my head. He could be anywhere. Ghosts can come from anywhere. There's no one there. He's gone now. I won't see him coming. Everything's just fine. I took a deep breath and got in the car. It took a minute, but I finally, with the help of a radio comedy show, don't ask me who it was, it actually made me laugh, so who gives a rat's ass? I managed to calm my nerves again. Despite this, I did still find myself constantly darting my eyes around as I drove along. This continued when I got to the parking lot at Publix, constantly looking over my shoulder. This too finally died down when I got inside. I started getting items to make lasagna for lunch. I had gotten just about everything: pasta, mozzarella, tomato sauce, and even garlic knots. Those were always better than Texas toast, and I was in line to check out when it hit me that I was forgetting something. Beef! I'm forgetting the ground beef. I quickly swung my cart around and started to run back to the deli. I looked at the time. 12:15. Gotta hurry. In my little frenzy, I lost track of my surroundings and ended up running straight into a man coming towards me out of the frozen meat section, knocking him to the ground. "Oh God, sir, are you okay?" I exclaimed, rushing over to help him up. He didn't respond. I took his hand and helped him to his feet. "I'm so sorry about that." I chuckled awkwardly and said, "I got so caught up I didn't see you there." This time he turned his head to me and parted the right corner of his mouth up, chuckling dryly. I couldn't really see much of his face. It was mostly covered by the hoodie he was wearing. He also appeared to be wearing shades. Maybe he's blind. Maybe he didn't see me either. "No one usually does, but they do," he said in a voice that sounded like it was coming from a yogi. It was smooth, yet soft. It didn't really seem to match the broad-shouldered 5'7" man in front of me who looked to be at least in his mid-40s. "People don't see me, but they see him." He pointed upwards to the ceiling. "Excuse me?" I asked, confused. "What did you say?" He just smiled before turning and walking off. I stood confused for a moment. What was his deal? I wondered. People don't see him, but they see them. What the hell was that supposed to mean? Who are they? The eyes see them first. They see nothing. I probably would have spent at least another hour or two digging down the rabbit hole with this if I hadn't glimpsed my watch out of the corner of my eye, now reading 12:45. Shit, I've got to get moving. With that, I zipped in, grabbed the beef and raced back to the checkout. I was heading back to my car when I looked back again and saw the guy I knocked over standing in the parking lot about 2 lots away from where I was, staring at me. I couldn't see his face with his hood still covering it. Despite it, you know, being 90 fucking degrees out. Still, I could tell he was staring dead at me. What the hell? Is he looking at me? Why? What does he want? For a moment, we just stood there, locked in a staring contest, neither of us knowing who should break first. Finally, a car passed between us, and when it came past, he was gone. Vanished. In thin air. Like a ghost. Like a shadow. Like he was never there. What the hell? Where'd he go? I started throwing my head in every direction. He was just there, wasn't he? Where is he? I didn't see him. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. It's nothing, Angie. Just get in the car. I took one last look around, one last sweep of the area. Whoever that was, he's gone now. Ghosts can walk through walls. They come from everywhere. Just get in the car, Angie. I can't see him. No one can. Get in the car. I can't see him coming. I opened the door and was about to get in the car when I heard it. Clump, 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 clump. I was turning to the left where it was coming from. Huh? What the? I was silenced when I felt a firm hand cover my mouth. In the hand was a white cloth being forced against my face. I started struggling, clawing behind me at my attacker's face. When I couldn't seem to reach that, I began trying to ram my elbows into his stomach and or kick him in the crotch. Neither of these were doing me any good. You have to come with me, I heard him say.
It was the same smooth, almost warm, soothing voice I heard in the store. They see you. I have to take you with me now. I started feeling woozy, my arms and legs feeling weak. Everything was going blurry. Darkness was creeping into my vision quickly. In a panic, I managed to wrestle my chin up enough to open my mouth and bite down hard. Sure enough, this caused the hand to retract and I was free again. I gasped desperately for air. I was still dizzy. I tried to look up to see who it was. Nothing. No one was there. It was just me in an otherwise empty parking lot. What the fuck? I swung in every direction. Nothing. Just cars. He was gone. Who the hell was that? Where'd they go? I frantically threw myself into my car and locked all the doors before rifling through my purse for my phone to call the police. I couldn't find it. I turned out my pockets. It wasn't there either. Where's my phone? I opened the door again and started looking on the ground for it, thinking it might have slipped out during the struggle. Nope, wasn't there. I started trying to look through my purse again, only to find that my phone wasn't the only thing missing. My keys were gone too. He must have taken them. I then got out and ran back to the store. Fortunately, I wasn't parked far from the entrance, meaning I wouldn't have far to run, less of a chance of being ambushed again, as long as I kept moving. After running in, I found the nearest cashier and asked, breathless, if I could borrow the store phone to call the police. I told him I'd just been attacked in the parking lot and my phone and keys were stolen. He led me to the back room where the phone was, and I pulled out the card Officer Wade gave me and dialed the number.
Mecklenburg County Police, what is the nature of your emergency?
I was just attacked in the parking lot.
Okay, ma'am. Can you tell me your name and location?
My name is Angela Upham. I'm at the Publix, just off Spader Street.
Okay, and you said you were assaulted in the parking lot?
Yes. He grabbed me from behind and tried to put me to sleep. I managed to get free, and when I looked again, he was gone.
You said he attempted to incapacitate you?
Yeah, he had a cloth that he held to my face. I felt dizzy. I still do. I think he might have drugged me.
Okay, now, Miss Upham, can you describe your attacker?
No, I didn't get a look at him. Like I said, he got me from behind. I could only see his hand.
Nothing at all? Tattoos, scars, anything?
No. I then thought about the struggle again. I saw his hand, bitten his hand. I bit him. There'd be a mark. It wasn't much of a lead, but still, it was something. There's a bite mark on his hand. How to see a ghost. Force it into the light. His hand, his right hand has a bite mark on it. He was white and thin, from what I could tell with how bony his hand was.
Okay, now Angela, I want you to stay where you are. The unit is being dispatched to your location. ETA 5 minutes. Do not, under any circumstances, leave the store until the authorities arrive.
I agreed and the call was disconnected. After that, I just sat there, my thoughts crumbling and forming an avalanche. Who was that? Where did he come from? No one sees him, only they see us. What did he want? If it was a robbery, then why was only my phone and keys missing? Where the fuck is he now? I wasn't able to see him. I think that was the question that got under my skin the most. If I didn't see him, I didn't see where he went.
then he could be anywhere. He could be anybody. I stayed in the room until I was called out by the arriving police. Outside, at the front of the store, was Officers Wade and Vega.
Angela Upham?
Officer Wade asked. Yes, I replied.
You okay, Mom?
I nodded my head weakly.
So, what happened?
I was heading out to my car when out of nowhere some guy comes out from behind me and puts a cloth over my mouth.
Can you show me where it happened?
I led him to the doors and pointed to my car. He then sent Officer Vega to go look at it.
You said you got away by biting him?
Yes, he let go when I did that, but when I looked up, there was no one there. I looked everywhere. He was gone. Was he there? I was about to drive off when I realised I didn't have my keys or my phone anymore.
You know of anyone who'd want to intentionally hurt you?
I shook my head. At that time, Officer Vega came back in and said there was no sign of anyone there or having been there. Officer Wade turned back to me and asked,
And you said you didn't see where he went?
No, I exclaimed, anxious. I told you, 1 minute he had me, I bit him, he let go, and then he vanished. The two exchanged glances at each other before stepping outside. I watched them walk to the car, looking like they were examining the area again. They came back about 5 minutes later.
All right, Miss Upham,
Officer Wade said.
It looks like everything's all clear. There's no one out there now. I'm gonna have Officer Vega here give you a ride home while we continue searching the area here.
Officer Vega led me out to the car. Even with his company, I still couldn't help but glance around cautiously in the parking lot. It was when I caught sight of my car that my eyes bugged out. There, scratched into the driver's door, was the eyes. I froze. They stared back at me, staring into me, through me even. I imagined that somehow he, my attacker, no, the fallen angel killer, was staring back at me through those eyes.
Ma'am, is everything all right?
Officer Vega asked, having now taken notice of my terrified state. Still shaken beyond being able to form a coherent thought, I pointed to my car. He looked over and immediately became as surprised as I was.
What the hell?
That wasn't there a minute ago, was it? I asked, hoping deep down that he'd answer, yes it was. That it had been there when he was out there looking for the assailant. How could he have done this without me seeing it before? He shook his head. Here, he said, urging me forward while still looking alarmed at my car. Let's get to the car. He led me the rest of the way and I got inside. He told me to wait a moment inside while he radioed his partner about the car. I just nodded blankly. My head was spinning so much, so fast. I'm honestly a little surprised it didn't spin right off my neck and take off like a helicopter. How was any of this happening? Why was any of this happening? How in the hell was someone, a normal man, I use normal only in the lightly general sense here, able to do shit like this? How in the span of maybe a minute, if that, able to deface my car like that and not be noticed? He's not a man. I can see a man. I couldn't see him. Moreover, how was he able to attack me like that and disappear? I can't see him. I thought back to before the attack, seeing the man in the hoodie standing there, watching me. What was he staring at? How the hell was he gone so quick? What did he want with me? He's not a man. He's something else. What was he gonna do to me if I hadn't gotten away?
People don't see me, but they see them. Ghosts can come from anywhere. What the hell does he mean? I faintly heard sounds of the car door slamming shut. I finally broke from my spiralling fit when I heard the engine turn over. Anywhere. They could be anywhere. My heart started racing again when the car peeled out of the parking spot and took off at breakneck speed. Whoa, slow down! What the hell, My breath caught in my throat when I turned and looked next to me. It wasn't Officer Vega in the driver's seat. It was him. My heart stopped. My mouth hung open. I wanted to scream, but for whatever reason, I couldn't. Oh Jesus, he's right here, right beside me. Where did he come from? He appeared from thin air. What happened to Officer Vega? What did you do to him? What's he gonna do to me? He stared straight ahead, almost hypnotised to the road as it stretched on. I darted my eyes over to the passenger door. It was unlocked. Slowly, just ever so slightly, I moved my hand to grab the handle. I have to jump. It's my only way. Don't do it. His voice was still as mellow and smooth as before. I looked back to him. His focus was still deadlocked on the road. I have to get away, and you'll want to come with me. But what? I asked, still shaking. He didn't reply. We kept racing down the highway at a horrifying speed. I looked again at the door handle before grabbing it and throwing the door open, ready to hurl myself out. Before I could, however, I was grabbed by the back of my shirt and jerked back into the car. This caused the back of my head to smack against the door frame, knocking me dizzy. He shut the door again before returning his gaze to the road. My vision had exploded into a mess of cloud and fuzz. My head throbbed and I could feel the beginning of a horrible migraine. I heard the door locked click. He locked me in. I couldn't try escaping again. I was trapped. He's trying to get away.
Please, he said calmly. Don't panic. I won't hurt you.
I barely registered his words. Everything was still fuzzy, both visually and auditory.
I never hurt anyone.
Him, I groaned, aching. You're him, the fallen angel. His eyes were still focused ahead. What do you want with me? He was running from something. He was silent for another moment before replying.
I don't want anything from you. I want to help you.
What?
You won't understand, but I'm here to help you.
What are you talking about? How are you helping me? And where are you taking me? He's trying to get away from something.
You don't see them yet, but they see you. They've always seen you. They see everyone. They see the others and take them.
I was floored. What? Who? What the fuck are you going on about? The eyes.
Please, calm down. Just keep looking forward and soon you'll begin to see them too.
See what? I exclaimed.
No one can see them, but they see us. Them,
he said, pointing all around.
They see us. They control us. And they take anyone who has the ability to see them, to see the truth.
He's afraid of them. He can see them. What do you mean? Who are they?
They are not a who. They are everything and nothing. They are power. And they crave control. They watch us and force us to live by their will, and we can't know because we can't see. The road kept going. I was lost, hilariously lost. None of what I heard made any sort of connection to me. It didn't sound at all logical. It sounded like something a wingnut, a tinfoil hat wearing crackpot would say. How long did the road last? Who was watching us? Was he talking about the government or something? Was that who he had to get me away from? Quiet, empty, endless road. Why couldn't anyone see them? Was it a real road? Where was anything or anybody else? I looked forward. The road stretched on as we continued speeding along. Just keep looking. You will see it. The truth. I did. At first, I was still confused. What was so important for me to apparently see? The road hadn't changed. I then, however, noticed something about it. It was just a subtle thing at first, and I almost missed it. Then again, I realised that we were passing the Publix again. We never left. What the? Did we just drive in a circle? The road doesn't change, just the way we see it. That wasn't all. I could see everything that had been around it again as well. The same road signs, the other markets, even the houses that had been in the area, everything. You see it now, don't you? He asked, his voice for the first time sounding actually worried, like he was afraid that I did. I began to wonder why. Why, despite the fact that we should have been miles away by now, were we passing by the same places? Why was I locked in the car with this psycho, a known serial killer? More than this though, why was he so afraid? How does he know any of this, and why does he want me to know? All of this had my head buzzing so badly that I almost didn't see other changes to the environment outside. I first caught it out of the corner of my eye. I noticed that everything began to subtly change colour, by which I mean that it began to lose colour. It was a progression, but I soon began to see the grass go from a bright, lush, healthy green to a stark albino white, devoid of any definition or health. The same became true for everything else. It was like something was slowly trying to erase the world outside, leaving only the blank, featureless outlines of the things that had been there. By this point, I was beyond the ability or capacity to ask what the fuck was going on. I could only stare out front through the windshield, horrified. I did manage to choke one question out. Where am I? This, he said, his voice, while still smooth, noticeably became deeper, is the world. The real world, you might call it. What? His voice got lower, deeper. Most won't see the world like this. Only those of us who see the truth. Those that see them. See who? I cried desperately. I began to feel something warm coming from his direction. It grew hotter and hotter, intensifying until I looked over to him and ironically felt my blood chill. He was now glowing. Around his body was a bright golden aura that glowed brighter and brighter. My eyes went wide seeing this, wider than they'd ever been. What the fuck? What is this? How is he glowing? What the fuck is he? Like an angel, a guide, a holy light to an unknown path. I didn't voice any of this,
and not even because I didn't want to, but rather I just couldn't. Even still, I must have still conveyed my feelings or utter shock, utter terror of what I was seeing. Seeing is believing, and knowledge is frightening.
Don't be afraid,
he said in a voice that now boomed so much that it shook throughout my body, echoing like the inside of a drum.
Your fear will draw them towards us.
What are you talking about, God damn it? I was at my wit's end. No, I was beyond my wit's end. I was so far past that if I did wake up from whatever little pipe dream this was, I'd have to be institutionalized on the spot. Look, enough of this cryptic horse shit. Either tell me what the hell's going on, or let me out of here, now.
Quiet!
He thundered. He now no longer looked the same. He no longer even looked like a person. His body was just a golden, glowing outline of a man with long, thin wisps coiling from different areas of his form. This once again made me go speechless.
Just relax, please. I know this is hard for you. That's why I've brought you here. You were afraid, I know, but I'm here to save you from that.
I don't...
Just keep looking. See the truth.
What truth?
That the world you know was never real. That what you know is only what you've been allowed to see. This child is always what the world, the real world, has been. Their blank slate, their sandbox, their playground.
For the love of God, who are they? You keep mentioning these things, but who or what are they? Where are they? Why can't I see them? I couldn't see them because I couldn't see ghosts. I didn't believe in ghosts.
Oh no,
I heard him murmur, still in an impossibly deep, angelic, for lack of any better word, voice.
They found us.
Overhead from the blank, featureless sky above, I watched as a large black crack split across like the splitting of ice. From this rift, a blinding light bled down as the sky split apart. My heart stopped dead in my chest when I watched a horde of eyeballs that were clustered together to form one giant, writhing, disgusting, and just straight horrifying mass descend. Each and every one of the thing's thousands of irises with different colours, some of which were mixes of colours I didn't even know were possible. Each pupil twitched in every direction simultaneously, apparently searching desperately for something. Not something, someone. I felt the car pick up speed. The mass of eyes began vibrating at a subsonic level, glowing intensely as it did so. What is that?
Them. The ones I've been telling you about. The ones that see everything in your world.
What does it want?
Control. They seek only control over you and everything it created on this earth.
What do you mean, everything it created?
I told you before, your world is a sandbox. It, is the one that builds on it. And believe me, they are very much a jealous people when it comes to power, to control. That's why you and the others can't see them, but they always see you.
I looked in front of me again to the thing. It was now vibrating somehow even more violently and starting to glow an aura of deep burning crimson. It was angry. What is it doing? I asked, petrified.
It's searching.
It knows another of its toys is trying to be taken from it, so it's trying to find us. When it does, it'll unmake the both of us, wiping us out, just like they did with the others.
Others? What do you mean? Who? To this, I heard him sigh. For the first time, he actually sounded mournful, sad even, like he was regretting something, confessing some secret or deed he'd tried to keep hidden away, buried, deep down.
I'm not a monster like you all think I am. I've seen what you call me, what you see me as, but I'm not a killer. I never hurt anyone, at least, not intentionally.
I cocked my eyebrows. What do you mean? He sighed again.
My eyes were opened to all of this, to the truth, a long time ago. Because of this, I wanted to spread the truth to others whose eyes haven't been able to see. I wanted others to break free of them and their control, but every time I did, it always saw and always found them and took them, wiping them out.
You mean the victims?
Weren't mine.
I was stunned again. I couldn't think straight. With the world essentially ending right in front of me at the whim of whatever the hell this abomination was, and now the revelation that this guy, this psychotic freak, wasn't a monster after all. I was almost completely at a loss for words. Finally, I found the will to voice one more question. The only one that mattered to me in that moment. What are we going to do? How do we stop it?
Like I said, your fear is attracting them. It's what's keeping your eyes closed. What's keeping you under their influence, their control. You have to stop being afraid. Purge yourself of your fear.
How? I asked, not at all underestimating how that was even possible. How was I supposed to not be afraid? How witnessing all of this, these things that were the kind of stuff people only saw either during their worst nightmares or their worst drug trips, was I supposed to stop being afraid?
I've never opened my eyes before.
What if I can't get rid of it? What would happen if it got me? Would I be wiped out too? Like the victims? What if it doesn't work? How am I supposed to get rid of fear?
My eyes aren't open yet.
My spiralling train of thoughts came to a screeching halt when one of the terrifying entity's gleaming red tendrils shot through the windshield, seizing and tightening around the man's wrist. I could hear a sizzling noise, followed by the smell of sulphur, and the man letting out a sharp cry of pain in a tone that didn't sound entirely human. At least, not just one. Almost like multiple people screaming at the same time from the same throat. Instincts kicked in and I reached out to try to pull it off him, only to immediately retract in pain before I could even touch it, feeling like my hands were on fire. The tendril coiled up across his arm, leading up and around his neck. It then began pulling him forward, trying to yank him through the windshield. His seatbelt was the only thing keeping him inside. Eventually I saw the straps being torn at the seams from pressure. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I could do. My eyes.
You have to let go!
He bellowed, groaning in pain. The belt straps were only barely holding together. The tendril was worming itself into his mouth and down his throat. I looked out again at the thing, the monster. Its pulsating eyeball mask glowed brighter and brighter. I could feel the heat, searing and unforgiving. I could feel anger from it, raw, unfiltered malice. I could feel its hatred. Brighter and brighter, the gleaming tendril burned, scorching the man until he erupted into flames himself. In seconds, less than seconds, he was engulfed in a burning ball of crimson fire. I'll never forget how his screams sounded as he burned, like 1,000 people were screaming at the same time as they were cooked alive. He strained to scream one last thing to me before he was gone, seared away.
Let it all go!
I was alone now. I had no weapon, no power, and no idea what to do. The thing loomed over the car, setting its sights on me now. This was it. I was done for. I have to open my eyes.
I
heard the thing bellow in a voice somehow even more impossibly deep than even the man was a minute ago. It was almost equivalent to the sounds of an earthquake rumbling.
Before I boot, said I book tinet, I book tenetur.
I closed my eyes, bracing for the end. My eyes. I thought of my home, my apartment. I thought of Paul, our date. I thought of the two of us together at the theatres, watching the movie together, laughing, jumping at the thrilling scenes, cutting up. Open my eyes. I thought of the times that I'd been scared in the past, like when I was a little girl and was caught in the deep end of a pool or lake. Every time my head would go under, I'd close my eyes, afraid of what I'd see if I opened them, imagining some vicious beast ready to tear me apart. Or I'd see nothing at all, ever again. Open them. I remembered how when I did open them again, I'd always see the sunlight. I'd be okay. Now. Open them now. I had managed to struggle my way to the surface. I'd made it out, where I'd seen my dad there, telling me that everything was okay, that he had me now, that I was safe. Open my fucking eyes. I felt something inside me shifting, a sense of determination, a dormant instinct, defiance. I wanted to survive. I wanted to be free, to live. But more than this, I wanted to beat this fucking thing right here, right now. I opened my eyes again. The entity still towered above the car, vibrating, glowing, pulsing. I felt my own body begin to feel warm. Quickly, I began to feel hotter and hotter. It wasn't painful though. It was invigorating. I was doing it. I was letting go. I wasn't afraid of it, or whatever it could do to me. The entity's mass began frantically pulsing again, its bright red aura returning with more vengeance than before. I knew it was getting desperate. It knew.
Feculum rupet.
The thing roared. I could see its eyes, each and every one of them. Now it was afraid. Staring dead at it, I felt triumph wash over me. And I said in a voice that echoed like how the man's voice did, "Now I see you! I see you, and you have no power over me!" To this the thing roared in anger, as its aura glowed brighter and hotter with rage.
You dissolvent tea.
It lashed out another of its tendrils towards me. I ducked and threw myself into the driver's seat. Assuming control, I threw it into drive and slammed my foot on the accelerator. We locked gaze one more time.
Burn in hell!
In an instant, the car collided head-on with the entity and everything went blank. Everything was a blank space of white, completely empty. I couldn't see anything, feel anything. Am I dead? Slowly, gradually, I began to see shapes and colours take form. These soon began to take on a familiar appearance. It was the parking lot again, just like it was before I'd left. Everything was normal again, yet at the same time, it wasn't. The colours, the sounds, the people, they were there, sure, but something was different now. I don't really know how best to describe it. Maybe like I was looking at the world through a camera filter, like I wasn't seeing the world anymore, not with my own eyes. My eyes are open. I can finally see the real world. Officer Wade came rushing out of the Publix.
Are you alright, Mom?
I just looked at him. He looked different now, too. Everyone looked different. They all looked like grey cutouts. What the hell is this? Why does everyone look so different now? Why do they look like this? Their eyes are still closed. Mine have been opened.
Mom?
I snapped back to Officer Wade's voice.
Are you okay?
I cleared my throat. Yeah, I replied half-heartedly. My mind was both blank and cluttered at the same time. Distant, yet there. On Earth, yet galaxies away at the same time, you know? Yeah, I'm fine. I then remembered Officer Vega. What happened? Where's Officer Vega? He looked confused.
Officer Vega?
He asked, cocking his eyebrows.
Who's that?
Your partner, the one who was supposed to escort me home. He just stared back at me, bewildered, not having any clue as to who the hell I was talking about.
Mom, I'm afraid you must be mistaken. I don't know any Officer Vega.
My partner is Officer Greer here. He then pointed over to the entrance to a man I didn't at all recognise. He was shorter, more muscular looking with a military-styled buzz cut. I was confused. What the hell happened to Officer... Then it hit me. It was just like he said earlier. They must have taken him, unmade him, just like they did with... Where is he? I blurted.
Who?
The man that attacked me. The fallen angel killer. Once again, he looked utterly dumbfounded.
Someone attacked you, Mom?
He asked. My blood went cold. Not from fear, but rather from sheer realisation, the kind of feeling you get when you reveal some great and horrible truth. Everything was back to normal, yet nothing was the same. He explained to me that they were there on a call about a possible shoplifter, and that they just happened to see me out in the parking lot, looking winded. I barely listened to him when he explained this. I know what really happened, but he doesn't. And neither does anyone else. They never will. Their eyes aren't open. They can't see them, but I can. I've tried searching for the man, the murders, any headlines of the search for him, but it's no use. Neither he or any of his victims can be found anywhere anymore. They can't be found because they no longer exist. Unmade. To the best I understand, these events happened only a couple days ago. Since then, I've seen the world this way. Normal, yet different. I feel different too. I feel faster, more perceptive than normal. I found that I can move faster than normal perception, causing me to be able to travel from one spot to another quickly than other people can pick up on. Just like him. I think I understand it clearer now. I conquered my fear, breaking their control over me, and now I've become elevated. I'm not just human anymore. I'm more than that now. I'm free.
My eyes are open.
Despite this, I can see them now too. They are everywhere, pulling the strings of everyone around me. No one else can see this, but I can. I know they are after me, which is why I have to end this now. I'm going to leave you with this. There are things that act beyond our bounds, beyond the veil, as you say it. They are everywhere, and they only want one thing: control. They fear being known though, being seen, and they can be seen.
All you have to do is open your eyes.
And I hope you enjoy the blooper reel. I didn't even bother trying to get off. My heart dropped from the... Despite this, it did... Meaning I wouldn't have had... He led me to the back room where the phone was, and I called out the card off it. My name is Angela Upham. I'm at the public...
Okay, now Mrs. Upham.
Still shaken beyond it.
I was so far past. My heart stopped dead in my chest when I watched a load of...
And either... Hey family, please be so kind as to throw punch the like button and smack the ass of the subscription button as well. And remember to chokehold that notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. And by subscribing, you'll be the first to see all of our new spooky creepypasta stories. A very big thank you to Corpse Child for allowing me to narrate this awesome story. Make sure to check out Corpse Child's Reddit page for more brilliant stories. And be sure to check out the Corpse Child playlist here for more of their stories that I may have already narrated. I would just like to say a very big thank you to all of the authors that I have worked with, and all the ones that I will work with in the future. So thank you all, my brothers and sisters. And why not hashtag cryptidsroost in your comments. A quick thank you to all of my Cryptids Roost community family too. We are now well on our journey to 1000 subscribers. So please spread the word and help us to grow and expand. And don't forget to share the videos too. If you would like to support the channel and help make us grow, you can buy me a coffee with your donations, big or small, to buymeacoffee.com. You can support us and donate via paypal.me/cryptidsroost as well. You can also support us at Ko-Fi and BitChute. You can also follow us via our Facebook group, Twitter and Instagram. All relevant links will be below. And don't forget to check out the end screen, see above. And that will also list some more videos in my back catalogue. Take care everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful and peaceful night. And don't forget, where fear is,
Happiness.